Alright, real quick, this is not a devlog, this is a proof of concept video because I still have no idea if I'm making Rise of the Grunts 2. Now you may have noticed in the title of this video, and the fact that I just called it Rise of the Grunts 2, that the word Maximus is nowhere in the title. There is a reason for that, and it's a good reason for that. I'm not trying to separate myself from the Four Fats or anything. I'm obviously still using one of their characters as the poster boy for the game. It's still a fan game and whatnot. I'm just calling it Rise of the Grunts 2 for a good reason, and I'll tell you what that good reason is when it comes up. Now, I have not coded any of the attacks, and as you can see, Wolfius has a brand new model, drawn, shaded, whatever, and new animations and stuff, no attacks or anything, and I've made the collisions for the walls different than how they function in Rise. In Rise, they just check for the player's X position, which essentially meant that I couldn't have different shaped rooms. Now I can, since the walls are actually objects, invisible objects, preventing you from going anywhere, which is way simpler and way better because it, works better and allows for more variety. Second thing, the way enemies spawn will be different. As soon as you enter a room, the enemies will already be there. The way enemy spawns work is each room has a set number of enemies, and to go to it, you go off screen, and then the room will have enemies, right? Instead of just having the enemies spawn in as the screen scrolls. The screen scrolling won't be a thing in this. It'll be more, not like Maximus 2, but closer to that than M1, because in M1 the screen just scrolled automatically. Here, it'll follow the player if you're in a room that's long enough for the screen to scroll, and once you kill all the enemies, you can move on to the next room, an arrow will appear, and you go on to the next room, go off screen into it. The reason this game is not called Maximus Rise of the Grunts 2 and is just called Rise of the Grunts 2 is because of this. There are 2D sections akin to the Blackmore games as well. It's a combination of the two. So it'll alternate at different points and levels between being 2D and being 3D. Every character will also have an aerial move that is exclusive to these 2D sections. So some characters will work better in 2D, some will work better in the 3D-ish sections. And yeah, some enemies will be exclusive to the 2D sections, some will be exclusive to the 3D. Some bosses will be fought in 2D, some will be fought in 3D. There won't be a gimmick. I'm saying this because someone's going to point it out. There will not be a gimmick where a boss switches between 2D and 3D. That's stupid. This isn't Super Paper Mario, and I couldn't make that work. I can only do so much. So I'm simplifying the way the coding works in Rise, while also adding more depth. That was Rise's biggest problem. It was overcomplicated in terms of code, and had little to no depth in terms of mechanics. And I'm fixing both of those issues here. Now, like I said, this is a proof of concept. I don't know. This is what Rise 2 could be, not what it will be, because I don't know if I'm going to make it. The current plan is still to finish Wastem before going on this. I might work on the two simultaneously for a bit, but Wastem is still the main priority. I'm just doing this because I feel like I could do something interesting here. I had an interesting idea. So, 2D and 3D, that's the gimmick for this game. And I'm calling it a gimmick, but I think it's actually a pretty okay one, in all honesty. Yeah, see ya.